I'm Bill Rogers with the Rogers Shooting School. I'm here to talk about our single point harness. You'll receive the harness in this package with instructions, but to make it simple for you, if you simply take it out of the bag, you'll notice that there's a line, a nylon line here, and it has, it's connected to this coupler. By simply taking and pushing your thumb from the back and pulling this ring back, we can separate. So we'll take and set aside the harness for right now, and we'll take this unit. Now this unit is ambidextrous. It's set up so we can do a right-handed or left-handed situation. And the first thing we want to do is we want to take and remove this screw. It's a Phillips screw. Remove it all the way. And there's a little wedge that's inside it. Remove the wedge. Now we have a situation where we have this string and we have our connector. Now we could take, if we choose to take and hang the harness from the left side of the rifle for a right-handed shooter, I would just leave it the way it is and then tie it off. But we can take the string out and move it to the other side over here for a left-handed shooter. But in this position right here, we're going to take and make sure that we can tie this thing off as close as we possibly can. If I tie the knot in there so that I get this as close as I can, it will not interfere with the safety on the M4 or AR-15 type rifle. So with this, in this situation, I'm going to take and make a knot, and I'm going to take and work that knot down as best I can, even to put the knot inside of the opening of that little post. And I'm going to get it as low as I possibly can get it. Now once I get it there, I'm going to then take and cut. I'm going to cut the string. Just be careful. Cut the strings, leaving yourself about 3/16 of an inch of extra material out here. Make sure the knot is tight, and then simply just take any lighter that you can find, and we're going to take and burn that material. Now, we simply want to take and burn the loose ends, this nylon. Make sure that it doesn't melt and get on your hand because it's very hot. But we're simply going to burn it until it turns into a little bit of a mushroom. And then we're going to take and push the whole assembly inside so that it's no longer showing. Now you can see how close we've actually made this so that it's only out about 1/4 of an inch from that connector. So now then, the next thing we're going to do is you'd have to remove your stock. So just slip off the stock by releasing it, the index lever. And you're going to take now, and there's a wedge here. This wedge is designed to fit into the threads of the stock on the buffer tube, just like this. So it looks just like this situation. It has a little button that sits into that recess and fits just like this. Then you're going to take this part and you're going to take and slip it over the buffer tube. Bring it all the way down, and you're going to take and slide it over that wedge so that it's now captured. You're going to take the cross screw, it's going to go right in here, and we're going to simply tighten it up. Now you do not have to over torque this. All it's doing is keeping the wedge in place. So really all you have to do is just pull up like thumb tightness to tighten that up. We're not working so much on the clamp as we are keeping that little wedge device in place. So now go ahead and replace your stock. Adjust where you normally would be, lock it up. And now the harness, this harness you can take, and whenever you get it adjusted, you want to take and bring this loop end up to close it so that this is not flopping around. And you can bring it all the way up to you only have like 1 inch of tag line. But you want to take and adjust this. First of all, if you'll look closely, the little connector here has an indentation. And that indentation is so that we can lock it in place by turning it 1/4 of a turn, and it's locked and you couldn't release it. So make sure that you're in the indentation that we can actually release it. And you want that indentation, if you're a right-handed shooter, you want that indentation in a position that you can see. So when you put it on, you want to be able to look down and see that you can see the indentation there. That means it's locked or unlocked. Now you want to take and adjust this until, with all your gear on, put your body armor on, your load-bearing vest, whatever, your magazines, and once you want this in position, you want it so that it hangs down just about where your sternum is, right here, right at this point, right in the middle of your chest. And then the rifle simply takes and attaches by clicking into it. So you simply take and click into the situation, and it should be adjusted very closely now, so that with the rifle hung without any pressure on it, as I bring it up, I've got a little clearance between my body armor or my shoulder so that it doesn't drag. It needs to come up to my eye level and be able to shoot in a tactical situation. Also, it needs to be so that I can kick this straight up and transfer it to my other shoulder and shoot from the other side at the same position without it being too tight. So that's where you want to recommend it, that you have that kind of clearance so that you can easily come up to a shooting position, and you can transfer it to, by simply kicking the bottom of the stock up, you can transfer it over to your left side and shoot from your left side as well. Now, it's set up so that I can remove it by simply pressing the button and pulling and releasing. But if it's locked in place and I've got some extra heavy duty movement, I can simply take and turn this lock situation that we talked about. I can turn it a quarter of a turn, and now we can't release it by pulling that. And that would prevent us from accidentally disengaging the rifle when we're in heavy movement. Now, in order to now release it, I would have to take and turn this back to that neutral position where it unlocks, and now I can immediately remove it and quickly get out of this harness. Now, one last thing this harness offers us is that in a situation where the rifle becomes entangled, or somebody's gets control of the rifle and starts to beat me to death with it, you can launch back against the system, and right around 160, 175 pounds of pressure, this will disengage. It doesn't hurt it, but it will unlock and allows you what we call fatal entrapment, where maybe you've got a machine, a track machine or something that's got a hold of this and it's winding you into it, or you're trapped in a situation where you're trying to get away from it. If you simply launch back and basically your body weight, if you put your body weight against it, it will release from either the lock situations. Even the final lock, it will still release without damaging it. So this is our single point harness. It's pretty easy to adapt. It's easy to get out of. You can simply leave this in place at all times and just simply work your rifle in and out of it. Along with our M4 harness situation, we also make adapters that go on the Remington and Mossberg shotguns. And so all you do is remove the stock, put the spacer on, put the stock back on, and tie your connector on either side, just like we did for this M4 rifle. So it is available for the 870 and Mossberg shotguns.